Hello again, friends. Joe here. Back a little bit earlier because it slipped my mind that they usually release a summer character on a 3% banner. They did that last year with Summer Albert. They did it the year before with Yukata Zahlhamelina. They probably did it years previous to that as well, but that was before I was really playing this game. And they did it today as well with Summer Tabina and Summer the Summer Flare Pot. So we're gonna Zahlhamelina. Yes, I think that's her name. So we're gonna take a wee look. I knew these characters were here because I loaded up the game earlier today, not expecting new characters to be here. Like I said, it slipped my mind that they normally release something in summer on a 3% banner. So I knew of the characters, but I haven't actually looked at them yet, so we'll have a little look. Take a look at Flarebot's Harp. She's light. Big attack, medium heal cap. That's okay, that's whatever. I like how that's just a plate of curry and some naan bread. Okay, medium attack, small enmity, plus big attack and 20% damage at start. I think that's similar to Fire Siegfried's weapon, I think? Which I want to say that caps at 40%. So like initial reaction was that this might be a pretty good weapon for Dark, but I don't know how. Like if starting at 60% health really is going to dip into enmity enough for you to like not have to worry about using Summer Zoe, which. Yeah, like I think most of the setups that rely on Summer Zoe are using her not only for the enmity, but for the unchallenged as well on that turn. So, at least for stuff like Akasha setups and stuff, I don't think this would be used. You could maybe use one just because it's got 3 attack mods, 3 attack skills, but I don't think you would use this in place of Zoe, I don't think, but... It seems like a pretty good weapon, but what do I know? I don't even have Summer Zoe, so like I'm not much of a Dark player. But okay, anyway, let's have a look at these characters. Let's see what they are. So she's light. She's previously fire, and you pretty much only used her for her field effect, which was, I think, was one that let you crit. No, it wasn't. It was. A progression thing, I think. A progression field effect. Anyway, her Ogi, massive light damage to foe, boost to all allies, light attack, 20% dark damage cut. Okay, fairly standard. Skill 1, shield effect to light allies, mirror image effect, one-time armor effect. 14 turns. What? That seemed... Unless this is like fucking like 20,000 or something. Like, nothing on this skill suggests that this is worth 14 turns of downtime. I don't know, maybe she has something later to reduce skill cooldowns, you can say. Okay, our second skill is another field effect. All foes and allies can deal critical hits regardless of element. Attack is boosted, defense is lower. Okay, so that's Alanan's field. For light, okay. And her 3, boost to light allies, critical hit rate, boosted damage cap, bonus light damage. Okay. Interesting. So she... Okay, let's... Quick look at her passives before we judge. Dark damage reduction to light allies. Debuff immunity at battle start one time. Takes effect even when Zahlhamelina is a sub-ally, so free Veil. Supplement light allies critical hit damage. Okay, so she has no way to reduce these cooldowns, so she is designed purely for short fights. Like you're like these what is this? 8 turns. That's not as bad. Still quite a lot, but 3 turns, 1 mirror image. Like skill 1 and 3 have so much downtime that like they're good. The actual effects are really good. Like damage cap and echoes and crit plus like supplemental crit, like they're good skills. Well, this is good. I mean, this is honestly, unless this is a huge shield, like this is kind of whatever. But these cooldowns are insane. So like, I'm guessing they're deliberately long, just basically to say, hey, don't use her on long fights because she's not worth it. But she seems like she'd be really good for like short fights where you're bursting with like like Nehan, Grand John. Maybe she replaces Summer Hao Mao, because I want to say they usually have a place on like Echo Burst light teams, and I think this is basically just a better version of Summer Hao Mao's Team Echo skill. But the thing is, though, that Light still doesn't have like an assassin character. I mean, it has Grand Jean, which gives team-wide assassin, but that's a tiny modifier. Like there isn't an equivalent in Light for like Water Zeta or Uno or Christmas Narmaya or Grand Narmaya or Predator, you know, or like Esser and Fire. Like every other element has a character that has a self assassin that is like 280% or something, whereas I think Grand Jean's team-wide one is like 15% or something. Like it's obviously it increases cap as well, but it's not a massive assassin. So I think until Light gets one of those characters, like it's never going to be like a core racing element. Like I think this character helps. Like I think this is, but not like in the way it needs. Like this basically just takes one of the characters that you would already be using in a Light Burst setup and just slightly improves them. See, so like she seemed, yeah, so she's fine. Like she's good. She's not a bad character at all. She's not really what Light was needing, really. Like she's very clearly designed for burst, but Light needs an assassin character for burst. Like they already have, you know, Grand Nehan for massive buffs. They have Grand Jean for, you know, team-wide triples and echoes, I think, and echoes, yeah, plus a minor team-wide assassin. You had like Hao Mao for like team-wide echoes. Like they have the characters to like do team-wide buffs for echoes and stuff like that. They just don't have that one character who can boost their own autos for just insane damages. Like, you know, like Uno and Zeta in water, like Narmaya in earth and wind, Esser in fire, Predator in dark. Light doesn't have that character. And until they get that character, characters like this are just like nice to haves, but not necessary at all. Especially when, like I said, I think she's just a kind of a slightly better Summer Hao Mao. And at the very least, Summer Hao Mao is probably better in longer fights, because they have a pretty chunky heal as well on their, I think it's their skill 1, that has a much shorter cooldown. Like this skill would be fine if it was like a 5 or 6 turn cooldown, but at 14, this is Like, this alone makes this skill garbage. So yeah. She's a weird character. Like, this is cool. It's cool that Alan's effect is in light now. And like I said, this is a good skill, but like I said, no assassin character in this element, and the skill is just, I don't know. It just seems deliberately tuned just to make sure that you know not to use this character in longer, drawn-out fights. Anyway, time to look at Tabina, who's dark. Skill Ogi, massive dark damage to foe. Activate Shams Al Saif, which is our skill 1. 4-hit dark damage to a foe. Dodge all attacks from foes 1 time. Is that dodge all? Nice. Refill 2 Hunter's Arrows. Cool. Skill 2. 4-hit dark damage to a foe. Hit to attack and defense. Stackable random debuff, so that's exactly the same as her fire version. Consumes an arrow as well. I want to say all these debuffs are the same. Maybe her fire one didn't have this, I don't remember. I have Fire Tabina, but I've never used her, so apart from this, I'm not really sure what the rest of her kit was. Skill 3, boost to Dark Allies debuff success rate, boost to skill specs, supplemental damage, ends upon taking damage 2 times. Interesting. So that's the entire team. That's cool. Skill specs. That's skill cap and damage, so that's cool. Kolulu would like that. I'm trying to think how many other skill spam characters there are in Dark. There's not many, to be honest. Like, Kolulu's obviously like the premier one. You have Lucius, obviously. That's literally all he does is skill spam. 6 probably counts as well. Like, his counter, I think, is when the boss Ogis. I think that counts as skill damage. Anyway, support skills. 4 Hunter's Arrows at battle start. End of turn when 1 or more Hunter's Arrows are granted. Activate. So she does, okay, she does this at the end of the turn if she has an arrow. And it presumably only, and it doesn't say that it doesn't, so it will consume an arrow. I don't think her fire version did this. I think you had to do it manually. So that's interesting. Boost to dodge rate based on attacking foes' number of debuffs. Upon dodging, 4-hit dark damage to run foes. 10% boost to all allies charge bars. So that's even more skill damage. I wonder if they're like going to push Dark into like more skill damage stuff, because the new dark the dark weapon from the new raid that just added from the main story update, I think is basically an LAR beak for Dark. But like I said, there's not a huge amount of skill spam in Dark, aside from like Lucius, Kolulu, kind of 6, and now Tabina, I guess. So yeah, she seems fun. She seems like if you deliberately build for skill damage in Dark, she seems like she could be good. But I think she has the problem that a lot of Dark characters have, is that she's Dark, and Dark has an absolute fuck ton of good characters that if a new character comes out in Dark and they're not amazing, it's hard to find a place for them, just because Dark has so many good characters. And for stuff like Akasha setups, like that lineup is pretty much locked, that you just cannot deviate from it. So I think it comes down to like if you're a newer player who doesn't have that filled out Dark roster, she seems like she'd be pretty good. Like I said, lots of skill damage, which for new players, like very new players especially, a lot of your damage comes from skills, and lots of debuffs as well. She seems decent. She seems fine. She seems like a game with 9.5. Plus, you know, she is... Tabina is a... I like Tabina as a character. She's a fun character. Her event was... That Bollywood parody event was a really fun event. I like that event. So, Tabina's a cool character. And she seems fine. She seems good. She doesn't seem terrible. Like I said, she's in Dark, which means it's hard to find a place for her, I think. Unless you're specifically going for skill damage stuff in Dark, but... That's the kind of thing that you only do for fun, I think, at this point. Although, like I said, maybe they're pushing in that direction, what with the new weapon that just came out, and plus her in such a short amount of time. But yeah, that's... Ooh, sunlight, Jesus. That's those two characters. I will see you again in probably about a week or so for Summer Shiva and Summer Halal Bel Shalem, which means probably also a Spark video, because I do like her a lot. So until then, goodbye.